Aloha and welcome to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We broadcast live every Thursday at 2 o'clock from 2 to 2:30 in the downtown studios of ThinkTech Hawaii in the Pioneer Plaza. Our show focuses on positive stories about business in Hawaii, and there are many of those. We've got one here today. This is Vanessa Perez, who is the CEO of a company called S3C2. Now that's a cryptic, and she's going to explain exactly what that means here shortly. But the bottom line is that she is an expert in the powers of LinkedIn. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that network and how best to use it. Vanessa, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Reg. It's so great to be here. I'm really honoured. Thank you.
Yeah, it's I think it'll be very interesting. LinkedIn has been in the news recently, and we'll touch base on that, I guess, a little later. But first, let's talk a little bit about you. Now, I know you've got a little bit of an accent, so where are you from and how long have you been in Hawaii?
I do have a bit of an accent, Reg. You may have picked up, and your viewers may have picked up by now that I'm Australian.
Australia,
And,
all right.
I'm from a beautiful city called Sydney out in Australia, down under. And my journey to come to this beautiful, magical island started a number of years ago when I met the love of my life, who's a United States Marine. Hi, darling, Bill. And we met on a joint exercise in Australia. I was serving with the Australian Defence Force. And I had served for 23 years. Primarily as a reservist, but I also had some pretty big careers on the side as well. And I did 6 years active duty and 17 as a reserve. And the majority of my time with the Australian Defence Force was serving with the Special Operations Command and specifically one commando regiment. So I've sort of been around, the military for most of my life, actually.
Well, I can't say that I've been around it most of my life, although Hawaii, it's hard to escape from it. It seems to be all over the place in Hawaii. But I was a Navy diver, and I did some interesting things. And
I know, I'm very impressed, Reg.
Over in Vietnam. So we had some stories that we can share someday. But you came to Hawaii how long ago?
So I moved here in 2008, and Bill and I had already been married for 2 years at that time, and he was posted here as his last posting cycle before he retired. And, we were trying to have a family, and it's pretty hard to do in two different countries. So I left the army. I was serving full time, and I left and packed up the house, and I moved over here with my suitcase and started our new life in this beautiful island. And, I was here for 12 months, and it's such a magical place, and our darling son Henry was born here at Castle Hospital, actually, in Kailua. So that was a photo of the day that Henry and Bill met, actually. Bill was serving in Afghanistan when Henry was born, and that was the day they met when Bill returned. Precious photo. So, so came here for 12 months and have been here for nearly 8 years. So
8 years, very good.
We love it. Yeah.
And so during the 8-year period, have you been focused on, the benefits and the power of LinkedIn this whole time, or?
I've been on LinkedIn for about 8 years, and initially I wasn't as a fanatic as I am now. But I have been on it, and it's really only in the last 5 years that I've really been very active on LinkedIn and really started to leverage it and discover the power of it. And that's primarily through my work of working with transitioning veterans. So I love to be able to use my knowledge of the, military language.
Well, and because I have a little bit of an interest there, and there are so many veterans in town.
Yes.
What is it? How do you help them with the transition using LinkedIn? How does that work?
I might go back a step and say that for 2 years I actually worked as a transition trainer. So we actually call it TAPS or GPS in the military.
Within the military?
So I was contracted, actually. Wow. There's a program that's run by the Department of Labour and Department of Defence, and it's a mandatory 3-day program that everybody in the military will go through before their transition, and it's designed to give them the tools and knowledge to posture for the current job market.
That's so necessary. They didn't have that in my day, but it's so necessary to go through that.
It really is, Reg, and pretty much every veteran, there's somewhere close to 350,000 a year that transition out, and they'll all go through this training, so it really sets them up to start thinking about interviewing skills and resumes. So I did that for a couple of years and found that this was my calling, this was my passion. I loved using my knowledge. I've spent most of my life hiring, recruiting, selecting and training people. So to be able to pass on that knowledge through this training platform And, you know, I just wanted to do more, which is why I started my business in 2014. And I just wanted to do more with the military community and beyond to help people posture for transition success.
So you had this contract for 2 years. You helped everybody through this training program. But now that contract is over, and now you're doing this freelance?
Well,
or?
I personally wasn't contracting. I was a subcontractor, I suppose, to the company that is contracting. So I should get that clear. And whilst I loved it, I really wanted to do more. I wanted to do more and kind of bridge the gap between what veterans are learning and some of the newer things that they actually need in transition now. So I like to think that I'm preparing people for the current career marketplace.
Well, and that's important because there are distinctions. And what's interesting, at least in my mind, is that some of the challenges come not only from the mindset of the people that are transitioning out, but also the mindset of the people that they're going to be working with. And so there needs to be this orientation or training for both groups. Because I think sometimes the expectations in the private sector aren't always in sync with the reality of the person coming in.
And I love that word sync, Reg. Actually, I'm using that now and saying that I actually synchronise talent with opportunity globally. And LinkedIn's a key platform, a key tool to be able to do that. And you asked how I came about getting into, this fanaticism of LinkedIn. And it really is because one of the gaps that I wanted to bridge between delivering the TAPS training for the military and what they actually need, and LinkedIn was a key gap that needed to be bridged. So I started doing LinkedIn training, coaching, teaching people how to do their own LinkedIn profiles. And for really busy clients, I actually write them or ghost write them. And it's starting
but that's necessary because not everybody is comfortable writing and promoting about themselves.
Oh, you're right, even the best writers.
So it's good to have somebody do that for them.
It really is good. You're right, Reg. The best writers in the world often stumble, over writing about themselves. And even I do if I have to write a paragraph about my expertise or my background. So, I think when veterans, and I think anybody who's joining the job market now, or anybody, competing in the current career marketplace, whether you're hiring, looking to be hired, or want to promote your business, being on LinkedIn is a really valuable tool. And really that's one of the big things the gap that I wanted to bridge.
Now, I think it's also important that this is a service you provide not only the military, but also in the private sector as well. And you can help any person at any level in an organization, from junior all the way up to the most senior level. And I don't want to promote you too much, but this also reaches an audience much broader than just Hawaii. I mean, this is a national, potentially international opportunity for people to go out and find something to do somewhere else, almost anywhere else.
Right. LinkedIn is a platform that's global, it's international, and people may not realise that there are 445 million professionals engaged on LinkedIn across the globe. It's growing really rapidly. In fact, it's growing faster than Facebook and Twitter combined. And 2 more people join every single second, so people are starting to see the value and the power of it. And one of the things that I really would like people to start thinking about, I just want to change that mindset a little bit about for people and help them realise that it's not I don't consider it social media. I'd like people to start thinking about LinkedIn as being a professional networking platform. Global professional networking platform. And once they start thinking about that this is the platform they need to be on to establish their professional credibility, to engage with other professionals in their industry or other industries globally. They can learn on LinkedIn, they can share knowledge, wisdom and insight, they can become an industry thought leader. So it's a platform that allows you to do more than just find a job. I mean, there's, 5 million jobs on it, but it allows you to do much more than that as a business owner, as somebody who's looking to hire or acquire talent, find it, acquire it, and for people that want to learn.
I know we're going to drill down into the details of that a little bit more in the second half of the show, so we can talk about some of the more deeper concepts of what you just mentioned. And it's a very powerful tool, and I use different parts of it at different times.
You're good on it, Reg. Reg is very good on LinkedIn. You know, thousands, tens of thousands of connections, which is fantastic,
Well,
and you're
and
using it well.
To your point about the social media distinction, you know, I mean, I'm also active on Facebook
Yes.
and on Twitter and Google Plus and some other things. And there's certain posts that are acceptable in a Facebook environment.
Yes.
But I've seen people try to put similar type posts on LinkedIn. And they can do that,
They can.
but they get slammed
I
for
know
it.
people like me.
You know, and it's always interesting to see how quickly
Yes.
people are to remind
Right.
others that this is not Facebook, this is not Twitter, this
You're
is
right.
LinkedIn.
You're right.
And they have different standards. I don't want to say
Yes.
higher standards, but they have different standards. It's a
Right.
professional network organization
Yes.
that people go to, in some respects, to get work done.
Right.
And they don't want to have to deal with some of the silly little pet things and this and that and other stuff that's maybe popping up that's of interest on Facebook,
Right.
but it's certainly not of interest to LinkedIn people.
And it's a great example to differentiate there. So I consider Facebook social media, and it's a great platform to stay connected with friends and family across the globe and be a little bit more social, and you can share information there about what's your favourite meal for lunch and your favourite new bag that you've just bought.
And what your puppy did
That's
that
not-
day.
That's
and
right.
That
That's
kind
right.
of stuff.
But it's not for
No.
LinkedIn audiences. And you're right. Like, I'm one of the people that actually say, "Hey, can you get that back on Facebook? That's not really appropriate for this platform."
Well, and in fairness to Facebook a little bit, is that they do have business pages that are
Absolutely.
available that do
Yes.
promote businesses, and they do a good job at that, and you can put ads on
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Facebook does have a little bit of
Yeah.
a balance, but it's just maintaining the, you know, the personality of
That's right.
LinkedIn, just,
Yeah.
you know, to have that credibility that you're
Right.
looking to establish, you got to
Right.
be careful in what you post there.
And it's, you know, people can start thinking about it as, you know, if you go for a job, for instance, it's really not within the scope of works for people to question you about your family or, you know, anything personal and social. So just think about that. I mean, if you're not able to be questioned about it in a job interview, don't necessarily share it here.
Right.
People want to know about you, your professional credibility, what your career story is. They want to know that your network have validated that expertise.
Well, and how long does that stay on LinkedIn? When you post something on LinkedIn, how long does it stay there?
I think whatever you post on the internet stays on the internet somewhere. And
Forever.
Well, right, forever.
And that's the point I was trying to make, is that,
Yes.
you know, you may be using LinkedIn in a professional environment, but all of a sudden you get excited about something, you put something on there that maybe is more appropriate on Facebook. It's going to be there, and people will see it. And I use LinkedIn. If people ask for my resume or my experience or what have I done, I almost always tell them to go to LinkedIn, and it's all right there in chronological order. I even have links on my website that'll take you there. So it all works together. And I want to make sure that what's there, I'm not going to be embarrassed with.
Right. And I like to say to people, when you get searched, when people search you, do you like what they see? And LinkedIn's the perfect platform for you to be able to establish your professional online reputation, brand, and your credibility. And if you're not proud of what's there, then ramp it up, change it, improve it, enhance it. People think LinkedIn is a platform that they consider it a online resume or the place that you need to be on if you're looking for a job, but it's much more than that, as we'll discover a bit later. But I want people to start thinking about developing their online portfolio on LinkedIn. Start thinking about telling their full career story.
Well, and there are ways to post articles and get
Absolutely.
all kinds of information on there, particularly if you've been published before, to put that on there.
Right.
But we've got to take a quick break.
Oh, okay.
We're going to come back in about 60 seconds, and we're going to drive down into the details a little bit more
Great.
about how to make LinkedIn work for you and whatever needs those might be. But this is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We're going to be going on a quick 60-second break, and we'll be right back to talk some more with Vanessa Perez about the powers of LinkedIn.
Aloha, I'm Carl Campagna. I hope you please visit us this summer. It's a wonderful summer. It's actually a cooler summer than we're used to. But I hope that you come back and visit us and watch our show, Education, Movers, Shakers, and Reformers, here on ThinkTech Hawaii. It's at noon every Wednesday. See you then.
Aloha! We invite you to join us on our Keys to Success show, which is live on the ThinkTech live streaming network series weekly on Thursdays at 11 a.m. My name is Danelia, Danelia.
And I'm the other half of the duo, John Newman.
Our goal for Keys to Success is to provide a platform for professional and personal development tools and profound insights on how to achieve success in life, career, and/or business. We have incredible guests from all walks of life, including politicians, successful business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, and authors. As this is a live show, there are live mess-ups as well, which are fun to watch.
Aloha, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Aloha, and welcome back to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. Today we are talking with Vanessa Perez about the power of LinkedIn. And LinkedIn can be useful in a lot of different ways, and we're going to talk about, number one, what those ways are, and number two, how to make that work for you. So, Vanessa, other than finding employment, what else can LinkedIn do for us?
Oh, LinkedIn is like, I like to call it the opportunity giant. So, the goal of LinkedIn is to connect talent with opportunity at massive scale. So people don't realise that they actually can do business on LinkedIn. It's beyond, maybe when it was created, it was almost like an online resume platform, and people used to call it the Facebook for chief executives. Now, it's way beyond that. If you're a job seeker looking to be competitive in the current job career market, you should be on LinkedIn. There's no doubt about it. You need to be on LinkedIn. There are 5 million jobs on there. You have the ability to present your career expertise in ways that far exceed what you could ever do on 1 or 2 pieces of paper with a resume. And
well, isn't there video possibilities on there as well? I mean, you can do almost anything on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, and I know that you've done a video introduction, Reg, for your business and what your professional expertise is. So I really would like to see more people thinking about leveraging the features, the multimedia features on LinkedIn. So you can include video, you can include images, you can include websites, you can upload documents for publications or articles that you've written, and you can actually use it as a publishing platform. And in fact, I think LinkedIn, is exceeding some of the newspapers really with the amount of publishing that's happening. So I said earlier that there's 445 million professionals engaged on it. Every single one have the opportunity to create their own original long-form content and publish it. So it's kind of like having a blog. But I'd be encouraging people that when they have a niche field of expertise to actually start documenting that and sharing it with their network so that others can learn from them, share insights and knowledge and wisdom, and your network really value it.
Can LinkedIn be used in a form of like a blog? Because, a lot of people have blogs.
Right.
But there's nothing that would be wrong with taking some of those blog posts that they do and just put it onto LinkedIn as well.
Absolutely. You're right. I'm working with a client at the moment that's had so many blogs published on other platforms and her website. We're just moving them now over onto LinkedIn so that her network get the value of her expertise.
Exactly.
And, I work a lot with transitioning military, so some of the posts that I write are to prepare people for transition. And it's great when people say, thanks, I really got a lot out of that. I learned something. Thanks for sharing that. So there's really great positive influence that you can have.
Right. And that leads to, I guess, a service that I utilize. And I help a lot of different companies, a lot of the small and mid-sized business market and their owners, and sometimes questions come up that I just want to get feedback on what the options are. I maybe have a feel for what my answer is going to be, but I want to know what other options there are out there. And so I belong to different groups, and I can post a question depending upon the nature of the question into the different groups, and I can get a lot of feedback from people across the country on the question I might have.
It's really valuable. I'm not quite sure how many groups they've got, but I've got a bit of a feeling it might be something like 4 million or something.
There's a bunch.
There's a lot. So you can really find a group that can provide guidance and advice and knowledge based on what you want to learn. And if you search veteran groups, for instance, I think there are about 2,500 of them alone. And the Veteran Mentor Network is a fantastic one for veterans to be part of. And, you know, I see messages from veterans that go, I've sent out 100 resumes and I'm not getting an interview, can you help? And I'll often send a message, go, send me a resume, and I run my eye over it. By the time they do, they've had 3 job offers. So it's, you know, tapping into the groups that are relevant to you, your industry,
Right.
your expertise, or what you want to learn is really a valuable resource.
Well, and even for people that are not maybe professionals in those areas, if now I get a lot of questions naturally about taxes
Right.
or about estate planning or wealth management, and so I belong to those groups, and we can talk a little bit about what are the, you know, what's the rules in estate planning, you know, can I set up a trust and do this, can I do that? And they have groups that answer all these questions for you, and and you're getting some very talented people
Yes.
engaged in a discussion with you on these issues.
When I get some time, I like to actually follow some things on there and engage with veterans and offer them tips or people who are after career advice. And I love it. I like to be able to give back that way, and people get value from it.
They do.
It's a great way to learn.
So it's a place for employees to go and hopefully look for a job. And they can get so specific. They could say, I want a job in New York. And so they
Absolutely.
can focus their efforts into a particular location. It's also an area that you can post questions and get answers and get some advice and consultation. But it's also a place that I think employers can go to find qualified
Absolutely.
people.
It's the platform for talent sourcing. I like to say you can find, target, and acquire talent. And if I might talk about a specific scenario where I'm working or coaching a veteran at the moment who's in transition. And I coached him to what I call strategically optimize his profile. So it's about using the right words, the right fields, the right number of times. He now, in searches for his field of expertise, is number 1 out of 89 million. He's been able to leverage that to engage with decision makers at organisations in Colorado, where he wants to retire to, and he's recently, he's 6 months away from retiring. He's just flown over to Colorado to meet a handful of people that want to hire him. He's been found for his expertise. So it allows you to, it's a platform that allows people, whether you're a HR professional, a hiring professional, a placement firm, or just somebody running a small business looking for the best talent on the planet.
That's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's not just the employers, it's also some of the search firms that are out there looking for people. Yeah.
I'm doing some talent scouting at the moment for a few small businesses, and you know, they come to me and they go, oh, we're looking for this niche expertise, and I go, give me 4 minutes. I want to say give me 3 days, but it actually really only takes minutes to find the talent. And then it's the engaging.
So what,
and
you charge by the minute?
should $1,000 a minute. It's so easy to find the people. LinkedIn allows you to create the relationships with people, right? You know, it's about engaging, building trusting relationships, you know, and
Well, that's what business is all about in
Right.
general. And
Right.
people say you can't do that unless you're face to face. Well, you know, things are transitioning. It's a little different today than it was 20 or 30 years ago.
may I tell you, I have met some of the finest mentors on the planet through LinkedIn. Hello, Dr. Story Musgrave is an astronaut who's been out of space 7 times and fixed the Hubble telescope. We remember that. Some younger viewers may not remember it. He's the most amazing man on the planet. And I was introduced to him through another friend on LinkedIn, and he's such a generous mentor, and I can send him a message and he'll be in contact within 10 minutes.
See, and that's something that you wouldn't be able to do without having the digital world supporting it.
Who'd think that you'd ever be able to connect with somebody, such a global influencer and amazing person on the planet? And LinkedIn's allowed me to connect with many, many people like that across the globe.
Okay, so we've got all this power. What else can LinkedIn do? I mean, it can help build a brand.
Probably, you know, the most important thing about being ready for today's career marketplace is thinking about how you're going to brand and market yourself and what you have to sell, whether you're a small business owner or whether you're somebody entering the job market for the first time or, you know, after a long period of time. So creating a professional brand is really important on LinkedIn, and then being able to grow your networks and, you know, engage with people. But you got to have content there, you know. It's important to have a photo that lets people know who you are. I like to say head and shoulders, make sure you're smiling. And it's not the platform for the family portrait or the selfie. It's the platform for having a professional headshot. And we want to see eyes and we want to see a smile. We want to know that we can trust you. So the photo's important. And then from there, the content that you write, tell us your career story. Use images to back it up and validate it. If you've project managed a building, show us a photo of that when it was finished or the stages of it. If you fly an F-18 jet, give us a photo of it so that we know what it looks like.
Exactly.
And these are
Whatever
ways
that
you
brand
can,
is that you want to communicate with your audience, you need to be putting it on there and showing everybody that this is my brand, this is who I am.
Yes.
Yep.
It's really important. And the content, and people overlook the importance of the skills and the endorsements on LinkedIn, and that's a way for you to define your expertise in line with your brand or what you're branding and marketing yourself for, and it allows your network to endorse you. And that's validation. That's people within your profession, usually people who know you and have worked with you, endorsing and vouching that you have that skill set.
Well, in my case, I have to be a little bit careful because I want to make sure that the people who do endorse me, and a lot of them put commentary on there, a little testimonial, but I want to make sure it's credible and it's real.
Yeah.
And occasionally I'll get somebody who I've never worked with and I don't really know them, and so they put something on there, and I'm just not comfortable, so I won't show that on there.
And it's great. You have the ability to manage what people see on your profile or your portfolio. And recommendations are really fantastic. And I'd like to encourage people to actually seek recommendations and give them to other people that they've worked with who've done a great job. But that's part of validating. But you have the choice to send it back and ask for changes, and you have the choice to display it or not. And then you have the choice to reorder them so that if you've had a great one 2 years ago and you want it up now, you can move it.
Now we're in our last probably 30 or 40 seconds if Zuri is kind to me. And I wanted to just get your take on the acquisition.
Right.
That Microsoft just bought LinkedIn.
Yes.
Is that a good thing?
How exciting is it, Reg? Like, I think it was the 1st of June, so it's a recent acquisition that the tech titan, bought LinkedIn for $26.2 billion. I think it was the most expensive technology acquisition that we've ever heard of. So it's exciting, and it means that, well, I suppose we'll see how that evolves soon, but it's exciting to see that the global owners of the cloud are merging with the global owners of the network. And we're going to see some magic happen.
Oh, the collaboration, the synergies,
Isn't it
the things
exciting?
that's going to take off now that you've got two of the powerhouses combining forces and having that integrated with Skype and all those other opportunities. It's going to be exciting.
And lynda.com as well. And I know one of the assets that LinkedIn had to offer was lynda.com, which is a learning platform. And when you get your veteran-free premium upgrade, you get access to Lynda for free, which is video learning.
Get a free upgrade?
Oh, veterans can get a free upgrade.
All right.
Send me a
I'm gonna do
message
that.
and I'll let you know how to get it.
We got to wrap up.
Oh,
and I'm
Reg,
sorry we have
it's been
so much
fun.
more to talk about,
know.
but we've run out of time.
Thank you.
This is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We broadcast live every Thursday at 2 o'clock. Looking forward to having you back again. See you next week. Aloha.